Hello everyone, welcome to SIUK Thailand webinar. Thank you for joining us today. We are now live with Lancaster University. My colleague Nikki, she will give a brief introduction in Thai, and then we will hand over to our university representative, Shelly. Over to you, Nikki.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay,
we can hear you.
yeah, okay, I already explained to students that mute the microphone all the time and turn off the camera. I think now we're ready to present now. So let's start.
Thank you, Nikki. So hand over to you, Shelly Robinson. You can start up with the presentation.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you so many of you for joining this afternoon on a Monday afternoon. I really appreciate your time. I believe we've got a mixture of students who maybe already have offers to Lancaster University, and there's students here who maybe are at the beginning of your journey and haven't yet decided if Lancaster is the university for you. So I've tried to encompass a little bit of both of those things in my presentation. And after I finished my presentation, I'm going to hand over to Lily, who's one of our current international students from Thailand studying at Lancaster University. And she'll give you a talk about what it's really like to be an international student from a Thai perspective at Lancaster. So my name is Sally and I'm the regional manager for Thailand at Lancaster University. So if you do decide to come to Lancaster, hopefully we can meet when you arrive and I can show you around the campus and we can get to know each other. So without further ado, probably a very good place to start is, where is Lancaster? So some of you may have travelled to the UK, you might be familiar with the UK. The chances are potentially you haven't been to Lancaster. Be very impressed if you have. It's not normally a city that tourists come to. Normally you might travel to Manchester, you might travel to London, and unfortunately people seem to miss out on Lancaster, even though we have a lot to offer. So we're located, as you can see from the map, in the middle of the UK. The lines you can see running through the map are train lines. And so you can see that we're incredibly well connected for all of the train lines in the UK. You can get to Manchester in an hour on the train or an hour by taxi. You can get to Liverpool in just over an hour, Edinburgh in 2 hours, and London in 2.5 hours. So we're really well accessible for wherever you want to travel in the UK. Most of our students fly into Manchester Airport because that's our closest airport, and it means that after you've done a long flight from Thailand, you then don't have to take quite a long train journey or a long drive through to Lancaster. But hopefully you can see our location is just ideal for exploring other parts of the UK. So Lancaster as a city, like I said, unfortunately, we're not quite as famous as other cities in the UK, but we've still got such a lot to offer. We are a very historic city, and we date back to the 11th century. And you can see this just by walking around the city. You can see this in the architecture and the culture and the history that really comes out of all of our buildings, and it's very clear to see. We have a castle in the middle of the city, which is one of the few castles which is actually still owned by Queen Elizabeth, and we have tours in there, and actually a couple of lecture theatres, depending on your courses, do take place in this castle. There is lots and lots to do in the city. We have excellent museums, wonderful coffee shops, food, music festivals, art galleries. There's everything you could possibly need to do in the city. But as I said, we are incredibly well connected. So if you decided that you wanted to go further afield for the day, you can easily hop on a train and be in Manchester in just under an hour. We are a relatively small city. We are about a quarter of the size of Manchester. So Manchester has a population of around 400,000 and Lancaster has a population of around 100,000. Normally, during term time, a quarter of the population of Lancaster are students. So it's a real student-centred city. And there are 2 universities in Lancaster. There's Lancaster University and there's Cumbria University. So you'll really benefit from being in a really buzzy student city. And if you want to get out of the city, We have so much to offer outside of the city centre. Lancaster is really perfect for students who are looking for that mix of city life, but also the natural environment and escaping to the countryside. So we are very close to the Lake District, which I would really recommend you having a look on Google afterwards. So you can see on the bottom right, this is a picture of the Lake District. And quite often people think that this might be New Zealand or somewhere like that, because the scenery is quite similar. And it's such a beautiful place to come and a beautiful part of the UK. It's something really unique, and we do welcome a lot of tourists to this part of the world. So our students come and they go hiking at the weekend. We have a photography club, we have mountain biking. So hopefully if you decide to come to Lancaster and you're a fan of outdoor activity, you might spend a lot of your time in the Lake District. We're also close to Morecambe Bay, which is a beach. So when the weather permits, you can go to the beach with your friends. I must be honest, unfortunately, our beaches in the UK maybe aren't quite as beautiful as your beaches in Thailand, but it's still somewhere very nice to go when our weather is good. And like I said, there's a lot of countryside, a lot of beautiful hikes and ways to really get stuck into nature if that's what you want to do and you don't just want to be in the city. So you might not be aware that Lancaster is a campus university. And this means that we are like our own little city. We have everything you could possibly need on the campus. And we do have students who come normally for postgraduate who don't actually ever leave the campus. Obviously, a year goes very quickly and there's everything there for you on campus. I would always recommend you leave the campus. Obviously, Lancaster campus is beautiful, but there's definitely more to see of the UK and of our city centre. But I think that just shows how self-contained we are as a university. So there are shops, restaurants, there is a cinema, a theatre, an art gallery. We have a huge gymnasium with a climbing wall with swimming pools. We have a doctor's on campus, which is something that is very important for students. So you can access a doctor's for free with your Tier 4 visa. And you just pay for a prescription, which is, I think, about £8 at the moment, like any British student would. We also have a dentist on campus, which is a private dentist, which you can access. We have a hairdressers, and all of your accommodation is on the campus as well. So you can see some words on the screen, and these are the names of our colleges. And our colleges are also our accommodation. So if we have any students on the call now who've already got offers, you might already know which accommodation and which college you will belong to. So you can see now where you would live on our campus. All of the accommodation and the colleges are very well located. They're no more than a 10-minute walk to your lecture theatres or to the centre of the campus. So it's a really nice, safe environment to be in, and hopefully you'd really enjoy the campus atmosphere. So for those students who haven't, on this call, who haven't already decided that you're coming to Lancaster, maybe you haven't already applied, we have over 280 different degree schemes at Lancaster. So hopefully we have everything that you could possibly dream of applying for. And if you came to Lancaster, you would belong to one of our 4 faculties. We have the management school, which is probably by far our most famous faculty. Within here, we have accounting and finance, we have economics, entrepreneurship, which is incredibly popular with our Thai students. We have marketing, and we have the oldest marketing department in the UK. One of the benefits of our management school is there's a lot of opportunities for internships, for placements, and a lot of career support. Our management school is one of the top 10 in the UK, and you'll really benefit from all of the expertise of some highly qualified and really passionate academics. You might be joining our science and technology faculty. If you're joining this faculty, you might be going on a course such as psychology, engineering, chemistry. One of the great things about the Faculty for Science and Technology is that all students and graduates can apply for paid work experience through our internship program. And that's something you'd find more about when you joined us at Lancaster, but it's great to know that those opportunities are there. Our third faculty is our Arts and Social Sciences faculty. This is one of the top 50 humanities faculties in the world, and many of our courses are incredibly highly ranked. Our creative writing is number 1 in the UK, and we are top 15 in the world. So you'll be coming to a highly ranked faculty. We welcome quite a lot of Thai students for sociology, for TESOL, and for law. Actually, we're incredibly popular for law, and you'll see our student when we speak to Lily's studying law at Lancaster, so she can give you a really good insight into what it's like to study that at Lancaster. We then have our health and medicine faculty, where our students come to study surgery and medicine, and we welcome a lot of international students into this faculty every year. So if you'd like any more information about our degrees and you haven't applied yet, you can reach out to me afterwards, and I can share my email address and we can talk through your options and about each course specifically in more detail. Something it's worth noting, and this unfortunately is just for undergraduate students, is the degree flexibility that we offer at Lancaster. So it's understandable that lots of students, maybe you're not 100% sure what it is that you want to study yet. So you might be very passionate about biology, but you're also passionate about psychology, and how do you make that decision for which course to focus on? The great thing about Lancaster is we let you combine honours. So you would apply through UCAS for biology, and if you decided you also wanted to take modules from psychology, we would allow you to do that. So it allows you to really get an insight for both of the degree courses. There are some limitations to this, so unfortunately not all of our courses allow this combining and this flexibility, but it's definitely worth, if you're coming to Lancaster and you've applied for an undergraduate course, reaching out to us just to see which courses can and can't be combined. This is something you don't have to apply through UCAS to do. You would, for example, just apply for biology, and then once you started or before you began, you could reach out to us to see what the flexibility is. You don't need to apply for, and you can't apply for combined courses, most of them through our UCAS. So let's touch on life at Lancaster and what we have to offer for students. We are a college university, and we are one of the few universities in the UK that have a college system. Now, you might be familiar with Oxford University and Cambridge University, who also have a college system, and ours is the same as this. So when you come to Lancaster, you will belong to a college. We have 8 undergraduate colleges and 1 postgraduate college. And this will be your family when you are at Lancaster University. So all of our colleges have their own identity. They have their own traditions, they have their own activities and their own social space. So you'll spend a lot of time in this social space with the students and other students within your college. Now, you don't have to select your college based upon anything other than your accommodation. So when our accommodation team would reach out to you, you would pick your accommodation based on maybe if you wanted an ensuite, you wanted a certain location on campus, and you would automatically be assigned a college. And I can guarantee you whatever college you belong to will be the best college. There's a lot of rivalry, there's a lot of competition, there's sporting competitions between the colleges, but whichever college you end up in will be the best college. I can guarantee you that. For postgraduate students, we do only have 1 college. So you'll be part of our postgraduate college. But if you're coming for undergraduate, then you've got a choice of 8 other colleges. And these are a great way to make friends and connections with people who are not just on your course. There's trips away, there's free breakfast, and there's a lot of social events. So it's a great networking opportunity. Alongside this, when you come to Lancaster, obviously there's expectation that you will be studying and working very hard. Our degrees are certainly not easy. But in your free time, we would hope that you would get stuck into life at Lancaster and everything that entails, such as our societies and our sports clubs. So we have over 200 different clubs and societies at Lancaster. They range from the wacky and the wonderful, the Unicorn Society, which I'll be honest, I still do not know what the Unicorn Society does, but I know they're very popular. We have the Harry Potter Society, which I think I can take a better guess at what they do. But we have the sports societies, football, tennis, swimming. There's really everything that you could possibly imagine. And if we don't have a society, it's a great opportunity for you to start your own. And this is something that looks very strong in your CV, and something that future employers will regard quite highly. Alongside the maybe more fun societies, such as Harry Potter and Unicorn Society, we have societies based upon degree programs. So we have the Law Society, we have Accounting and Finance, we have Marketing, and I would really recommend students joining the society that is relevant to their course. There are a lot of opportunities for networking. We have alumni come in, there'll be relevant trips. And so not only are they a good way to get together with classmates and people who with similar interests, but they're really beneficial for your future career. So that's definitely something to bear in mind. Accommodation. Obviously, this is something that's really important for students. It's where you'll be spending a lot of your time, certainly if you're coming for 3 years and even if you're coming for 1 year. I'm delighted that Lancaster has won Best University Accommodation for 8 out of the last 10 years. As you can see from our pictures, our accommodation is a really nice place to be, and we have lots of different options available. Prices start from around £95 per week, which is incredibly reasonable, and one of the benefits of being in the north of England are that our prices are generally a little bit cheaper than if you were to study in London, for example. And we've got a really large range of options. You could choose catered, where you're given a card and you can get your breakfast and your dinner from one of the many providers on campus, or you can have self-catered, where you can see from our kitchen, you'll be cooking with your friends. You can choose to have a ensuite, or you can choose to have a studio apartment. The studio apartment, I would only recommend if you're coming maybe with your family or your partner, because it's a really important part of the university experience to learn to live with other people, to make friends and to cook and to have that social aspect. So I would definitely recommend, where possible, sharing a kitchen. If you're coming for postgraduate, and same for undergraduate, you will only live in accommodation with people who are either postgraduate or undergraduate, the same level as you. So you should be living with people who may be on the same course or have similar interests to you. So not only do we have great accommodation, we have a lot of career support for students. And this is support that extends even when you've graduated from Lancaster. Our priority is obviously to equip you with all of the skills and knowledge you need to hit the ground running in the job market and be able to compete in what is a very, very competitive industry. You will be able to access our specialist careers consultants, and you can sit down with them when you arrive at Lancaster and put together a plan of what it is that you want to achieve. This might be networking opportunities, this might be placement, it might be further courses such as a Lancaster Award, and we will help you achieve everything that you want to achieve while you're at Lancaster. Definitely one of the benefits of being a top 10 university is that we welcome a lot of companies to our careers events to recruit from our student body. So hopefully you should have access throughout the year to lots of careers events where you can meet companies face to face and hopefully secure those jobs before you graduate. Obviously, you will benefit if you come to the UK now from the graduate route, meaning you can stay in the UK for 2 years without needing a company to sponsor your visa. And that helps take the pressure off and the burden off trying to find jobs that will sponsor your visa, and hopefully after the 2 years then you already built up some experience in a company and it will be a little bit easier to get that visa sponsorship if you do decide you want to stay in the UK. And this is just another example of where our students have gone. They've gone on to top companies, not only in the UK. We have students who, of course, return to their home countries in Thailand. We have students who go to Europe, America, but they've gone on to work for really large companies, and we'll support you wherever it is that you want to go. If you have chosen a course at Lancaster where there's a placement, if it's a placement year, you can choose to do your placement year in Thailand, you could choose to do it in the UK, overseas. Normally about 80% of our students do their placements in the UK, 15% in Europe, and 5% internationally. So completely up to you, and we'll support you with finding jobs in the UK or finding jobs elsewhere in the world. It's just up to you to access that support. So as I said at the beginning, I believe we have some students on this call who've already decided that you are coming to Lancaster, which is wonderful news. We are delighted that you will be joining us, and it's really not that long away. So we will be welcoming students for Welcome Week, which begins on the 4th of October until the 8th of October. This is a week of events and activities, and I would strongly recommend students arrive in time for this Welcome Week. Welcome Week is also known as Freshers Week, and it's where all of the new students, new starters get together. There's events, activities, there's orientation, so you can get to know where your lecture theatres are, academic inductions, you can register for the gym, your societies, and it's a really great way to have a smooth introduction to university life. So if you can arrive by Welcome Week, then I strongly recommend that you do. You will register before Welcome Week. So if you've already applied to Lancaster and you've got your offer and you've decided you're coming, please keep checking your emails. We will be sending you lots of emails over the next couple of weeks and the next month, telling you what it is you need to do to prepare for your arrival at Lancaster. Normally, around a month before you start your course, you will receive an email asking you to register for your course online. You'll follow the link in this email that will take you to our registration centre, and then you can follow all of the steps to register online. When you register, you'll put in your passport, your visa information, your permit, and then the university will tell you what the next steps are. So all of this information will come to you via email. So please keep checking your email address for the next steps. Something important to know is that we are offering free airport and train station collection for our international students. So we will meet you at Manchester Airport if that's where you've decided to fly into. Unfortunately, we won't pick you up from London or any of the other airports in the UK, or we will pick you up from Lancaster train station, and we will bring you to the university. There's an email address on here that you can see international arrivals at lancaster.ac.uk. If you have any questions or concerns, please send them an email. If you've already confirmed that you are coming to Lancaster, you should have already received an email telling you how to apply for this free transfer service. It will be a case of you providing us with your travel details so we can book you in. I would recommend being collected from Manchester Airport, then you don't have to travel to the train station, and you're probably going to be quite tired after what is quite a long journey, so it's easier for us to collect you from the airport. So unfortunately, obviously, we can't pretend that this has been a normal year. The university's plan, I should add, for teaching in September is for everything to be face-to-face. We might always keep a very small element of teaching online because students have really benefited from online teaching, and the feedback from students is that they have enjoyed it to an extent. Of course, the majority of teaching will resume face-to-face. Sadly, I have to caveat that with we are at the behest of what the government decide. If the government decide that we are no longer allowed to teach face-to-face, and we will navigate back to online teaching. But the UK is in quite a positive position at the moment. Lots of people have had their vaccinations. I've got my second vaccination on Friday, and things are very positive. Everything is back to normal. Everything is open. But people, if they want to, are still wearing masks, and we still have some social distancing, just to be cautious. But we're in a positive situation in the UK. We do, however, have travel lists. So we have red and amber and green ratings for certain countries. Red means that a country is deemed high risk, and there are certain procedures they have to follow when they come into the UK. Amber is moderate risk countries, which is what Thailand is currently, and the green list means that countries are low risk. And so you must follow the advice from your country, and you will need to keep looking on the government website to see if the status for Thailand changes. Unfortunately, it's a really fluid situation. So the information I give you now is relevant as the situation is today. Things change very quickly, so this information might not be correct in a couple of days. And the government do make updates and announcements, and I believe the next one is coming next week. So please keep a lookout to see if Thailand changes from the amber list. If Thailand ends up on the red list, then you will need to quarantine in government accommodation. SI UK will support you, I've no doubt, with what you need to do. But if you are arriving in the UK from a red country, which I stress Thailand is not now, you would have to take a COVID-19 test prior to travel to get into the UK. You would have to quarantine in government facilities. The university is paying for students to quarantine, so you will pay this and we will reimburse you. And you will spend 2 weeks in the quarantine hotel, and then we will collect you from Manchester Airport. So after your period of quarantine, you would have to then travel to Manchester Airport, and we would collect you from there. At the moment, Thailand is on the amber list. This means that you have to take a COVID-19 test prior to travel. You then have to book and pay for a day 2 and a day 8 COVID test. This has to be taken on arrival in the UK. You also need to quarantine for 10 days. However, you will be quarantining in university accommodation, and you'll be quarantining for free. Hopefully our team have already reached out to you to let you know about the quarantine procedure, if you've already applied to Lancaster and you've got your offer of your place. So keep an eye out on these emails for things to change. But we've got a lot of support for students. So we have a test and travel support package. And this means that students coming from a red country, we will pay for your quarantine in government accommodation. We'll reimburse you. For students who need to quarantine on campus on the amber list, we will provide free quarantine on campus. You don't need to pay for those 10 days accommodation, and we'll pay for one of your 2 tests. So have a look. If you've already applied and received an offer, you should have already received an email about this. If not, please go and have a look on our website, and all of the information about Lancaster's test and travel support package is available on our website. So make sure you have a very thorough look through this information and you know what the correct steps are. So as I said, for quarantine, we will provide 2 weeks free accommodation in university housing on the campus prior to the start of term. So you should aim to arrive in our quarantine accommodation before your course starts, so that you'll end your quarantine before welcome week. You might have chosen to go into private accommodation not owned by the university. You will have to speak to your landlord directly about this, and we aren't responsible for you quarantining privately. So make sure that you've looked into this. If you are staying in university accommodation, you can buy a starter kit. So that includes bedding, kitchen equipment and food, and this is £70, and this can be waiting for you when you arrive, and it means you can go straight into your quarantine accommodation. So like I said, the accommodation team will be in touch with you if they haven't already, so please keep an eye out for these emails. So does anybody have any questions? It's a lot of information to take in, I'm aware. So we can have a quick Q&A, and then I'm going to pass on to Lily.
Okay, so I just pick up some questions from the student in the chat box. Yeah, so the first question is, the student want to know about if students have graduated from international program in Thailand, can they waive IELTS score for English requirement?
It will be on a case-by-case basis, so it depends what they have graduated from. It would have to be something that our admissions team would look over. Normally we're looking for IELTS. Normally it's about, depending on your course, the IELTS will be slightly different. Normally it's IELTS of around 6 to 6.5, and so if you've graduated from an international program, our team will take a look at your transcript and see if this maps well to our course.
Okay, so our next question from Princess. Wait a moment. Princess, she asked, she wants to know, like, for the resident, in case some students prefer privacy and avoid noisy roommates, the small house, like small townhouse for 1 bedroom, which allowed to have pet approximate rent per year, how much total cost of living, including food and everything per year?
Okay, so if you wanted to have a self-contained studio, they are of course more expensive, and also they are very competitive because we don't have a great deal of them. If you haven't already applied to Lancaster and secured accommodation for a self-contained studio flat, unfortunately I think if you're hoping to come this September, October, I think unfortunately they're probably already sold out. They are normally around £180 to £190 per week. For food, we tell students to budget between 6,000 to 10,000 a year for everything, not just for food. Sorry, that'd be very expensive for accommodation and food, but it depends how you wish to live. We have very cheap supermarkets in the UK, such as Aldi, where you can do a weekly food shop for £20–30 and have more than enough food. But of course, if you want to have takeaways 3 times a week, then your food bill will be a lot more. Because it's the north of the UK, it is cheaper than being in the south of England. So you can live a good lifestyle on £6,000 to £10,000, but it depends on which accommodation you are choosing, because the self-contained studio flat, say for example, is around £180. However, if you're choosing a apartment where you share a bathroom and you share a kitchen, you're looking at £95. So that's an extra £100 a week, £400 a month that you'd have to factor in.
Okay, great. So the next question, they just want to know that any scholarship for Thai student, especially like a business or MBA program for postgraduate?
Yes, we don't have scholarships specifically for Thai students, but we do have scholarships available, and I know many Thai students who have received a scholarship. We have a Thai student who's coming in September for our MBA who's received a fantastic scholarship. The scholarships are normally on a case-by-case basis, and the great thing about Lancaster is that normally for most of our courses you don't have to do anything separately to apply for a scholarship. So you would apply on our website for your postgraduate study or undergraduate through UCAS. Our admissions team would take a look at your application and your previous academic history, and we would award a scholarship based upon academic merit. So normally they're predominantly based on academics. There's a couple of our courses that might require a separate application. But if you apply, our admissions team will get in touch to let you know if you're eligible to then apply for a separate scholarship. But we do have scholarships available, but they vary year on year.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is, if the student she just want to study master degree about psychology, but she need to have the background for from undergrad before to study master psychology.
We don't have a standard Masters of Psychology at Lancaster. We have Psychology of Advertising. So it depends what the student's looking for. It's not a typical psychology postgrad.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Then go back to Princess. She wants to know, like, after finish the postgraduate study, students will automatically get visa to stay like 2 or 3 years for like post visa for foreigner to study living in UK for the 2 or 3 years. Just automatic, or they have to apply the new?
They have to. Unfortunately, I'm not a visa specialist, so I don't want to give you any correct information. I believe there is some kind of application that students have to do, but you should automatically be entitled to proceed through this, having studied in the UK. So it's a 2-year post-study work visa where students don't need visa sponsorship. There's a lot of information about this on the British government's website, so I'd recommend having a look at this.
Okay. Hey Sally, it's David.
Hi David.
I can speak a bit to that if that's okay.
Please go ahead.
Okay, great. This is David from SI UK, Thailand. We just ran a seminar actually a couple of weeks ago on this. So similar to Sally, we're not UK immigration. We'll get that disclaimer out there first. But you're right, you don't have to, there's no onus on the employer to sponsor you. So if you have a valid student visa, you would be eligible to apply for the graduate route, and 2 years for a typical undergraduate or master's, 3 years for a PhD student, and you would just be applying for, there is a fee to pay to get the visa. So you're paying like a health surcharge to the NHS, to the health service, just to kind of cover your costs. The same access you get that way as a UK citizen. And there's a visa charge, which actually the cost escapes me, but I want to say £700 as well. So hopefully that's helpful, Princess, as well.
Okay, thank you, David. Thank you so much.
No worries at all. We literally just did the seminar, so it's fairly fresh.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, hopefully you've recorded that and you can share it with some students, because I'm sure it's really useful for people to know, and myself actually.
Yeah, well, we have a PPT, so we could definitely share. That's got some key stuff on there, but I would add exactly, or echo what you said, Sally, which is definitely go to the UK immigration website. They have some really good PDF guides you can actually get that just give you the breakdown, the basics. And so if you're a student preparing, especially maybe as a master's student, you've got 1 year to do your studies and focus on your academics at Lancaster, but you want to maybe line some stuff up, you still need to be prepared. Even if a company doesn't need to sponsor you, there's none of that pressure. You want to obviously get your skills, your soft skills right, and so on. So there's a lot of preparation and research still to do.
Okay, thank you so much, David. Okay, for the next question, for the last question for now. So the student wants to know, can I change the chosen field of study on the website for first selected?
Sorry, can you just repeat that question one more time?
Okay, can I change the chosen field of study on the website, like first selected?
Yes, so if you want to change your mind, maybe you want to apply for another course, if you contact the admissions department, or if someone from SI UK contacts myself, we can speak to the admissions team and we can look at getting the course transferred to a new one if there's availability and that your academic history matches this new course. But we do have students who do that, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, thank you so much. That's it for now. Thank you so much for answering.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to pass over to Lily, if that's okay.
Okay.
So it's great to have Lily here because she is one of our current Thai students. And she can talk a little bit, hopefully, about her experience of what she's found it like to be a Thai student at Lancaster University. So hopefully, Lily, you're here somewhere amongst all of these names and numbers.
Hi, Sally. Can you hear me?
Hi, Lily. Yes, I can. Thank you. You're 44730, which I wouldn't have said was Lily. Do you have the option to share your screen? I think you.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I'm going to share my screen then. Okay.
Thank you very much. I will mute myself.
Not sure, can everyone see my slide now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I can just get that.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Lily and I'm your Thai friend, your fellow Thai student at Lancaster and an incoming third year law student at Lancaster, so it's going to be my last year. I actually been in Lancaster for like 6 years now. I did my A-level at Lancaster and then I chose Lancaster. So I think you can guess how much I actually love staying there. Anyway, a fun fact about me, I speak 3 languages and Thai is not my first language, but I can speak Thai, so don't worry, like hit me up with any question, I can answer you. I think Sally covered almost everything that a student needs to know before coming to Lancaster now. So I'm just going to speak a little bit about our Thai society maybe. Okay, so a lot of people actually thought that there are not a lot of Thai students coming to Lancaster, but the truth is we had over 70 students, almost like 80 students in 2019, so before COVID. Last year, I wasn't sure because I wasn't in Lancaster for the first couple of months. And we are pretty sure that we are welcoming about 40 to 50 students coming this year. And we do run a lot of events, meetups, and we are planning that we're going to pick some of you up from Lancaster train station as well, in case anyone are actually traveling from Manchester and want to take the train, or from London and want to take the train themselves. So that's our plan. And I'm just going to show you some of our Thai society events over the years. So we actually had a Thai society like way back, like in 2011, but we lost it in 1 year because we didn't actually re-affiliate the society. But we did re-affiliate it in 2019 and then started joining all of our Northern games. So Northern University decided to come together and we had a Thai sport day. So we came together and joined up, and you will meet us at the Fresher Fair. So please come and you'll see it somewhere there. Okay, thank you very much, everyone, and please ask me any questions.
Thank you, Lily. Now's your perfect time to have your questions answered by somebody really in the know. So I'd really ask you to take this opportunity to ask Lily any questions, even if it's just what should you bring, what were the biggest challenges, what do you wish that you'd known before you came to Lancaster?
Okay. มีคนไหนมีคำถามไหมคะสามารถถามได้เลยนะคะตอนนี้นะคะพิมพ์มาในแชทบอกได้เลยนะคะ Okay, I'll just go back to the one question from the princess again about okay, we have new question from princess. If student cannot get job looking for in the UK, will this visa qualify to get a job in other countries in the Europe after extend visa expire like 2 or 3 years? In case student want to continue to work in Europe, is embassy required to travel back to Thailand to change the visa or can extend in UK?
This is a very good question and potentially not one that I feel that I can confidently answer. I don't believe that you'll be able to use this visa to work in Europe because the UK is no longer part of the EU, so that would require a separate visa to study or work in Europe, sorry, we do support students in getting jobs in Europe. Not all of our students, British and international, decide they want to work in the UK. So we will fully support you in finding those jobs in Europe, but you will require some kind of visa sponsorship from a company based in Europe.
Okay, thank you so much. For the next question, like for students who never been to in the UK, like the city campus specific like regulations that different from Thailand that must be aware, especially like for safety.
Lily, do you want to answer this question? I'm going to interpret that as like what's maybe the biggest differences between Thailand and Lancaster, which I'm sure there are many. What did you find the biggest shock, Lily? I know you've been in the UK quite a long time.
Yeah, I don't think that there were any regulation that we need to be aware of. Lancaster is quite a safe city anyway. But I think that for international students, we need to register with the police first when we first came, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, that's pretty much it for regulation. And about maybe, I'll talk about the buses maybe. So in Thailand, it's quite easy to get a taxi. It's not that difficult like that in Lancaster anyway, but we don't have Grab or Uber or anything like that. We have Lancaster taxi service, but I think the best choice for a student would be the buses. The buses are really convenient, and yeah, so please, if you are living in town and traveling to campus every day for your classes, please get a yearly bus. It will be a very cost efficient for you.
It's just over about £1 a day for the bus pass. So yeah, it's a very cheap way to travel, and you can take as many trips as you want if you get a yearly bus pass. So we definitely recommend. That's something you can do when you arrive at Lancaster. Don't worry in advance about needing to buy that.
Okay, thank you so much. มีใครมีคำถามอีกไหมคะตอนนี้เวลายังเหลือนะคะมีใครมีคำถามอีกไหมคะพิมพ์ได้ในช่องแชทบอกเลยนะคะ
Lily, hey, it's David from SI UK. I actually had a question for, hopefully it's for everyone else's benefit, but it's coming from myself, which was, I'm based here in Bangkok, so I do enjoy my Thai food. What kind of maybe Asian markets or Thai food can we get in Lancaster near the university?
We do have food delivery, so there are actually 2 Thai restaurants in town, so you can get delivery from that, or you can go to town to sit in. That's another option too. And we have a Chinese supermarket. I always shop there. It's like my second home, literally. It's very cheap option, and they have a lot of Thai ingredients, so you shouldn't be worried about cooking a Thai meal for yourself.
Okay, that's great. The next question, like students want to know that what if they have an accident or get very seriously ill or need the operation, will student insurance cover everything, or the student need to pay for everything?
If the students are paying, they pay the NHS surcharge, so they can access the NHS for free. There's no extra fee to pay if they have an accident. The only thing you would pay for example, which is the same as I would pay and British people pay, if you went to the doctors and you needed some medication, you pay normally between £8 to £9 for this medication for your prescription. So that's the only thing that you should be paying for. There shouldn't be any extra charge to go to hospital to access anything. The only thing that you will pay for on campus is the dentist. If you decide to register with the dentist on campus, that would not be included because it's a private dentist.
Okay, the next question from Kun Great. If you are not good at English, can you go and adjust easily?
Lily, do you want to answer this question? I mean, I know your English is perfect, so maybe this isn't something you have to deal with.
Actually, when I first went to the UK, so I moved to the UK when I was 14, couldn't speak a word of English then. It was definitely like really difficult at first for like 2 months, but then bear in mind, I didn't meet any like international students back then, but Lancaster is a very, very international environment. We are very diverse, and you can access a lot of help with your English as well. So I don't think that you struggle. Obviously not for like a year and then you'll be like, oh my God, I hate this. No, I'm sure you can adjust easily within a first couple of months, a week maybe.
I hope that you would find as well that British people are incredibly kind and understanding that maybe English isn't your first language. You will find that unfortunately most British people, we don't speak any other languages, and so we're incredibly impressed that you and delighted that you are also trying to learn another language, and you'd find people are very patient and understanding, and I'm sure you would pick things up very, very quickly.
For the next question is what kind of part-time jobs can students do in Lancaster and approximate income?
Yeah, I think I can answer this question. So
Okay.
You can work on campus as a student ambassador like myself, or I am still working at the Thai restaurant that I mentioned with David. So you can go in and just ask for a job there. They're all very kind. And it's usually about the minimum wage for an hour. So about like £8 an hour, £8 or £9 an hour. Or other than that, or the restaurant, cafe, on and off campus, you can easily get a job there too.
Okay, thank you so much. มีใครมีคำถามอีกไหมคะเป็นคำถามสุดท้ายแล้วมีใครมีคำถามไหมคะงั้นพี่ขอจบนะคะ Okay, I think that's it for the question from the student right now. So thank you so much, Solly and Lily, for joining us today.
Hi, Nikki. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Actually, I have two direct questions from a student. The student want to ask, refer to the engineering, how many faculty that Lancaster has the course now? And the other question, during study in Lancaster, can we do some part-time jobs?
Yeah, we just, I think Lily just answered for the part-time job, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And related to engineering?
We have one faculty that deals with engineering. The only engineering we don't have is civil engineering, but we have a range of other engineering based courses. They differ for postgraduate. We don't have as wide an offering for postgraduate.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Okay, I think that's it for the question now. So thank you so much again for joining us today.
Thank you so much for organising this, and I'm happy to share my email address with Nikki and everybody. And if you have any questions or any concerns, if you're a student who's planning to come to Lancaster in September and you just want someone to speak to, myself and Lily are here to answer any questions. I know it's a massive decision to move halfway around the world, and we want to make it as easy as possible for you. So happy to answer any questions, big or small. And if you're still in the decision-making process, also feel free to reach out. That there are no silly questions.
Yeah, so thank you so much. หากน้องๆคนไหนนะคะมีคำถามเพิ่มเติมนะคะหรือว่าต้องการจะไปเรียนต่อที่ Lancaster University นะคะก็สามารถติดต่อพี่ๆ SIUK ได้นะคะมาทาง Facebook Page ก็ได้นะคะหรือว่า Line แอดก็ได้ SIUK Thailand นะคะมีแอดด้วยนะคะสำหรับ Line นะคะยังไงก็หากใครสนใจไปเรียนต่อที่ UK ก็สามารถติดต่อเราได้ค่ะเราบริการฟรีทุกขั้นตอนค่ะขอบคุณมากๆนะคะน้องๆที่มาสัมมนาในวันนี้ Thank you so much for everyone today for joining us. Okay, I think the student have all information they need to know for today. So
thank you for organising.
Yeah, so have a nice day for everyone.
Thank you, you too. Thank you, David. Thank you, Lily.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Lily.
Lily. Thanks, Nikki. Thanks, Kelly. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.